us today.
Good to be here. Thank you for letting me interview with you.
I'm going to start off with your election and your campaign that you're running for. You're running for the Alabama State Board of Education, District 4. What made you want to run for this office?
Well, a couple things. Mainly was just looking at the test results. Recently, the state received a C on its state report card for education. This district is in much worse shape than the average. We range from a terribly low 24% proficiency in Greene County to Tuscaloosa is the best at 61%, and that's still not passing.
Okay. How long have you had a passion for high quality education?
Well, my mom and my dad are both teachers and retired, and then my brother's in education, and just always had a passion for learning. Went to school here at Tuscaloosa County High, went to University of Alabama, and I just felt like we need to have high expectations and encourage kids to learn and find their place in the future.
Okay. So you've had a couple years in politics. What made you want to enter the political world?
I always want to make a difference. Just one of the things just kind of early on felt like, you see things happening in the world, you kind of want to make an impact, and you kind of want to be involved in the people around you. You've always been involved in youth athletics, things like that, and it's kind of time progressed and opportunities arose. Served on the county commission here for 8 years, and so that's kind of given me a feeling for what goes on and interaction at the local level, but also the interaction with state and federal officials and how all that works.
Okay. To clarify for our viewers, can you explain what areas of the state that District 4 includes?
Yeah, District 4 is kind of a unique area, but it's Hale and Greene County to the south of Tuscaloosa, rural, pretty depraved or deprived economically as a percentage compared to the other areas and maybe other areas in the state. You got most of Bibb County, most of Tuscaloosa County, everything south of the river, Tuscaloosa County, and little sections that are north of the river. You head east through Tuscaloosa County into Bessemer, Fairfield, Birmingham. Basically, those three school systems in Jefferson County represent that part of the district, and about 50% of the total electorate.
Okay. What duties do our State Board of Education officers carry out?
Well, their primary duties set policies for your K through 12, as we call it. How the local school boards run, under certain rules and parameters that the state requires. They set curriculum, which is always an important issue, and where your curriculum standards are. Of course, we've heard a lot of that in the news the last several years, but that's one of their primary roles is to, again, set the policy that the local boards follow, and also set the curriculum standards statewide, as well as other programs and activities that are run through the Department of Education, which they oversee.
Okay. What initiatives or goals would you like to accomplish if you win this position?
Short term, I think there's one aspect. We need to improve the morale of teachers and our educators in the schools, treat them like professionals. I'm a CPA by trade, that's my job. My employees, I don't require them to buy their own pencils and paper and pens and things to work with. That's provided by their office as their employer. We routinely are asking teachers to provide money out of their pocket to pay for necessary things to help educate students. And that's not how the way the private world works, and we shouldn't expect our teachers to have to do that either. So we need to increase the funds that they receive just to buy basic supplies. We need to work with our legislature to do that. It got cut severely several years ago. Some of that's been restored, but not enough. Most of the good teachers I talk to spend way more than what they get as an allowance. That's a short-term goal. You got to improve morale. Secondly is we need to improve standards. We have high expectations, and in the long term we need to see results. We expect it on the football field in this state, and we ought to expect it in the classroom.
Okay. What experiences do you have with your past jobs and community services that you believe will help you do a great job for District 4?
Touched on it a little earlier, but as a county commissioner here in Tuscaloosa, I was able to work with just different areas of our community and trying to improve facilities, do different things for education here. Also just the interaction with local officials in other counties, state and local, It just gives you an opportunity to learn how to work with other people and try to accomplish goals like that. So we want to work together those ways on the state school board. The other thing that I've done is I've been an adjunct professor at Shelton State for almost 10 years in the past. I think that gives me an opportunity to kind of see what's coming through the system, where remediation's needed. That seems to be a recurring problem as well. We raise the standards and do better at the K-12 level, and that gives those schools a better chance to get right into higher learning instead of having to backtrack, spend time doing remediation. And I think the other aspect, just for me personally, it might be unique to the board a little bit, is a CPA and a business owner. I see what students come out of college, where they're at. I kind of have a feel from the other employers what their needs are, what their expectations are from students entering the workforce. So I think just that combination gives me maybe a unique view that I would have on the state school board.
Okay. What do you believe differentiates you from Yvette Richardson, who currently represents District 4?
I think Dr. Richardson's, all I know and have heard, is a great person. Haven't had the chance to meet her, but I think maybe the difference is the expectation and the goal setting. I don't want us to go back to the old standards. I don't want us to have the Common Core standards. I want us to have the best standards. And I participated in meetings where they basically said they took the old standards and repackaged them and added a little bit to it and kind of created a new formula, but it's still much the same, and it's Common Core standards that we're seeing that everybody complains about. In Alabama, we don't do Common Core on the football field. We expect to be #1 in the nation on the football field in District 4, which includes Tuscaloosa City Schools, Tuscaloosa County Schools for the most part. We don't have a single public high school ranked in the top 40 in the state of Alabama, much less the nation. And I think that's an embarrassment. I think a lot of our educators are working really hard and want to do better and are trying to do better, but they need more support from their local community, business and government leaders. We need to look at how we're doing things in Montgomery. The one-size-fits-all approach doesn't work, and we've got to do a better job of providing more opportunities for teachers and students to find their way and use their gifts in the classroom.
Okay. And our last question for today, what do you hope the incoming State Superintendent of Education will do to improve Alabama's educational system?
Well, I hope the first thing from a District 4 perspective is that the new state superintendent will actually come to Tuscaloosa and West Alabama and really look at what's going on here and in the heart of Jefferson County. Look at the schools, look at the scores, and begin to sit down with the teachers and the community leaders, the business owners in the private sector, to see what they think the needs are and what they could do to improve it. I think we got enough people in Montgomery and offices and elsewhere in central offices that are trying to do their job, but we need to hear from the teachers. We need to hear from the folks in the classroom what they need, and sometimes that's just needing to get state and federal folks out of the way. And it's not always just the federal. I hear a lot of teachers that are always complaining about the amount of time they have to spend on paperwork and edicts essentially coming from the state or their local central offices, that they don't have time to teach the students the way they would like to, or to do the things that would improve those scores and their learning opportunity. And that's a big challenge in the private sector that, as a business owner, we see consistently, but the teachers in the classroom are experiencing much the same thing. That means there's a lot of time lost that could be directed towards students learning. The more teachers have to spend time on that, the less time the students have to learn. And so that's what I hope the superintendent will do is get outside the walls of Montgomery and get out in the local schools and talk to teachers and small business leaders in the communities.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Thank you.